Welcome to the Pacific Coast Anglers Podcast. Meet the fishing pros, hear stories, get advice, and get the latest info on all the newest gear. Now your host, Gary Palmer.
Well, I am just thrilled today to have the opportunity of speaking with Mark Young. Mark, we'd like our audience to get to know you. So could you take a minute, tell us about yourself, maybe your family, and your guiding service?
Okay. Well, we're Alaska Marine Guides, and we're located in Valdez, Alaska, which is part of South Central Alaska. We're an LLC, and so it's more than just myself in the business. We also have partners that are in the lower 48 that are a part of the business. We primarily focus on one-day to multi-day trips out of Valdez, fishing for halibut, lingcod, rockfish, salmon. We really like to do the multi-day trips with exclusive groups so we can cater and customize the experiences. Our trip, we don't call our fishing trips, we call them experiences.
Awesome.
Because that's what we like for our guests to have, is an experience on the water. No matter what we're fishing for or what we're doing. On these multi-day trips, we'll go to shore and fish cutthroats in the streams or dolly varden.
Awesome.
And just really customize our trip. So that's kind of at the core of what we do. We're given quite a blessing with the fish and that we have the resource that we're having. We're just glad to share that with people.
You're in a beautiful part of the world, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They call Valdez Little Switzerland for a reason, because the mountains come right down to the water. And the saying is, in Valdez now, even Mother Nature has her favorites.
Right.
And so I truly believe that. We truly do believe that. But we feel like our experiences are different from a lot of the regular charters that are out there and what we have to offer. So
that's awesome. It's really important that we get kids involved in fishing at a young age. But thinking back in your own life, who got you started in fishing, or what memories do you have of your early days fishing?
Oh, that's an easy one. My parents loved to fish, and my grandmother loved to fish, so it was in me from the beginning. My dad's retired Coast Guard, so I always spent time on the water.
Awesome.
I couldn't have escaped it if I'd have wanted to.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
and we passed it on to our kids as well, and we love having family and kids on our boats too. I mean, there's nothing greater than seeing a kid catch a fish.
I know.
Yeah, and we need to grow that positive experience for kids. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. So, how long have you been professional guide?
This is our 8th season as in business, so professionally guiding. However, I started in the early 80s on the Atlantic deckhanding on party and charter boats. So I've been doing it off and on for quite some time, and fished the Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Pacific.
Oh, awesome. So, what is your most memorable fishing experience?
Probably the most memorable one was a couple of years ago. We landed 7 halibut over 100 pounds, 4 over 150, and 1 over 200 pounds in 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
So that's a hard experience to not, to forget, But you always have the neat trips out with people that are memorable too. But as far as fish, that was it right there. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, you take people with a big variety of skill sets. So some are novice fishermen, first-time fishermen. Others are experienced fishermen. The novices make a lot of mistakes, but the experienced fishermen that go with you, what are the most common mistakes you see them make?
They know a lot,
That's right.
which often gets them in trouble. And, sometimes, I had 3 ladies from England last year who had never fished a day in their life. And then I had an experienced salmon fisherman.
Yeah.
The 3 ladies from England smoked the guy because they
that's
listened
awesome.
to what we had to say. And I'd probably fall in that same category, though, if I fished with somebody, too. So, yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
That's great. That's good. Yeah, Julie was up in Alaska fishing, and she was the only woman on the boat, and out of Sitka, she outfished all the guys. And after the second or third day, they started coming to her. What are you doing different? And I think you're right. She probably listened. Yeah.
I think women in general do a good job with that.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
just fishing.
No, exactly. In life.
Yeah.
So when you're what advice or what tips or techniques could you offer the angler that gets skunked way too often? Someone that just says they just love to fish, they go out, but they just get skunked a lot.
Well, we always have to remember fishing is just that.
Yes.
It's fishing, and just keep trying. And
Not
keep
always catching.
Yeah, not always catching, and just keep your water, lures in the water, and just keep plugging along. Fortunately, we fish in places that's a rare occurrence. But I have to say it's not, it does happen from time to time, and it's disappointing. But, most people, if they stick with it, they'll have their turn.
Yeah. That's with us. We catch a lot of fish because of Julie, but there's days that everyone around us is catching fish, and we're not catching them. We start thinking, what the heck are we doing wrong? Our confidence just drops down to the bottom. It's like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, there's nothing worse as a charter guy to come in and have to be the bad boat that day,
I know. Yeah, tail between your legs and go back.
Yeah, absolutely. But it happens, it's reality. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. So, imagine that you just won this incredible contest, and it was called the Pick the Dream Fishing Contest. You won first place, so you get to go anywhere in the world, all expenses paid, all inclusive, on this amazing fishing trip. So now you're planning this trip. What's it going to be?
What's my trip going to be? Well,
it's paid for. Yeah.
For what I would personally.
You and your wife can go anywhere in the world fishing.
Well, I still would fish where I fish, and it would be out on Montague Island at Patton Bay and out in those areas, fishing for ling and rockfish and halibut and on the streams. I mean, it's just the perfect place for me.
Awesome, yeah. I love that. So, before we say goodbye, do you have any parting words for our audience? And then also, how can our audience connect with you?
Well, fishing's just a positive thing to do, no matter what you're on the water or not, whether you're catching or not. So, just being on the boat out is something I think is great for anybody else that would want to do that. But what was the other part of that?
How can our audience connect with you?
www.alaskamaringuides.com is awesome. Probably the best way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll put that on our show notes. We'll be linked up there.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's been great. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's it for another episode of Pacific Coast Angler Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here. If you head over to our website at pcangler.com and subscribe, you'll be a VIP member of our podcast, and we'll notify you anytime there's breaking news about fishing on the Pacific Coast. Also, we'll let you know when there's new episodes. So, until next time, over and out.